Well, hi, friends. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. We're so glad you joined us. This is where we take a fresh look at ourselves and the world around us. And we're going to dive right into today's topic because we know it's going to be a very, very active one. And Jerry, I have been contemplating the question all evening and this morning and last evening, I should say, and this morning. And we're asking our wonderful Take Two family, does your past sometimes get in the way of your future? Wow, that's a big, big question, Jerry. What do you think?
Well, I would say, excuse me, for each one of us, there could be at least some element of this, absolutely. And I think the key is to realize, to learn from our past, whatever that is. If it's things that were done to us, bad experiences that we had, maybe negative ways that we were treated, or even positive ways, but also from that flow, certain decisions that we make and patterns of life and all of this. And the key is really just to kind of, break out of some of this stuff, especially anything that might be keeping us from really being bold and confident and moving forward as the person God made us to be.
Well, this is exactly why we came up with this Stand Tall retreat, Jerry. And I just wanted to say real quickly, we're at 13 days and then we're closing registration. We are getting emails and text messages and people are trying to reach us saying, is there still openings? Yes, but hurry to jerryanddebbie.com. Check out the agenda. We are going to the wonderful St. Bernard Abbey, taking a field trip to Mother Angelica's crypt, where we're going to have a healing service, Jerry, where we're going to be able to really stand tall, to kind of shed that past and move forward and stand confidently that we are so loved by God as children of God. And Jerry, I'm excited about it. It's February 9th through the 11th. Please, folks, don't wait any longer. jerryanddebbie.com. Go there, sign up for the retreat. We want to get to know you better, and we want to stand tall and get rid of the past, Jerry.
That's right. That's what we're talking about today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. So the number again is 1-800-585-9396, 1-800-585-9396. Debbie, I love the resilience of the human mind and will and heart and spirit. And so many times, in spite of maybe what could be a difficult past that we've had, we do okay in life. We have families, we have marriages and families and jobs, and things are going along okay. But we don't maybe realize sometimes what some of those things are that may be holding us back from really flourishing in life. And so a little bit of reflection on that can sometimes reveal some things that we just say, God, take this away from me, and just help sort of unlock my future. So we want to hear from you today if it's been your experience that you kind of wonder sometimes. You get to a point in life where you're saying, I'm not really where I think I should be or where I want to be, and then a little bit of looking back and you realize, what, I don't need to be held bound by these things anymore. So. Right. Share your experience on this.
1-800-585-9396. Phone lines are already lighting up. That means you have a lot to say about this topic. We knew you would. 1-800-585-9396. That's to get on the show. We're asking the question, does your past sometimes get in the way of your future? Jerry, you said something interesting about unlocking your future. And I just wanted to comment on something. When we have our history, if you will, the mistakes of our past, shame, regret, things like that tend to creep in. Now, it sounds very obvious, okay? Obviously, you can't focus on regrets and shame. It's not going to get you anywhere. It's very unproductive, right? But it's a hard thing to master because it kind of goes around and around in your head. You want to correct it, okay? But you can't. It's in the past. We know that God is in the present. God is ready preparing our future, and we need to cooperate with that. And God has great plans for us, and we can't even celebrate our destiny when we are focused backwards into the past. So I like to say, Jerry, when you said unlock the future, I kind of view it as the old VCRs, if you will. Sometimes many lives are in the pause mode or even in the rewind mode. Let's hit the play button. Hit the play button and see what God has in store for you. Doesn't that sound much more fascinating than to go backwards, Jerry?
Well, it sure does. And I think, Debbie, as you and I often do, we share that even, we actually bring up topics and talk about things that we've had experience with ourselves. We're not asking you, our listeners, to discuss anything that we haven't really been through. And Debbie and I think have talked a lot about, I know I have, my family of origin and things that, I experienced, and some of the wounds and traumas and the results and ramifications of that. And then, you just sort of get into sometimes bad patterns in your own life and wrong choices, and all of these things, they can sort of just really weigh down on you. But, thanks be to God, through a lot of, different means and channels, I think I've come to a place of really just kind of shedding that and recognizing, who I am before God. I still am a wretched sinner each and every day. But see, it really provides you a different perspective on your own sins and weaknesses once you have kind of resolved, when you resolve some of the things in the past that, previously might have held us back. So have you had an experience of this? Or maybe you feel a little bit stuck right now and you just want to maybe try and, unpack a little bit about how to move forward. We don't have a lot of time. Debbie and I aren't counselors, but we do have real life discussions on this show. So it's 1-800-585-9396.
I like to say we have a combined experience of over 100 years. That should earn us a little bit, right?
Right.
But Jerry, I would go a little further than that. Sometimes I feel like there are folks that the past is just weighing you down. It's paralyzing you. It's completely keeping you unable to really be the best version of yourself. And it's weighing you down to the point where you can't even see sometimes what is in store for you because you're so focused in the feelings. And that's something that I think would be worthy of discussion, Jerry, because we all, like you said, wretched sinner, I think you said, and your famous saying is, I love the wreckage that is me. But you're not saying that, Jerry. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you're not saying it to beat yourself down. You're not saying that. You're simply saying that, as I believe, as a way, almost like a teaching tool, that that you are imperfect, but God loves you so very much. And he knows every hair on your head. Now, I joke around because Jerry does the shaved bald look, but you know what? I'm sure you have a lot of hair underneath that razor. But here's the thing, Jerry. He knows every hair on your head and he loves you. And that's the important thing. And that's what we want to focus on Take Two today. So please don't sit this out. Don't take notes. I'll take notes for you. We want you to participate. 1-800-585-9396. It's an enjoyable experience, and we need to hear from you because phone lines fill up very quickly on this show.
Yeah, and we always say there's one thing and one thing only we don't like about this show, and that is getting to the end of it and sometimes not being able to get to all of your calls. So talking about has your past kept you a little bit stuck, maybe really stuck. Maybe you have that paralyzing past that Debbie is talking about. Let's all move beyond this together at 1-800-585-9396.
Father Benedict Groeschel.
No Catholic can support abortion, and that Catholics are responsible to take serious action against legalized abortion.
The leading Catholic voices are on EWTN Radio. Encounter with Dan Demete and Patrick Rice is our new radio show for young adults.
The Holy Spirit is about a new and exciting work in the young church of today. On Encounter, we bring young adults the life-changing testimonies of ordinary people that launch them into lives of extraordinary mission. Their testimonies bring faith and power into the lives of everyone who listens.
Encounter with Dan Demete and Patrick Rice. The Spiritual Awakening continues Saturday night, 8 Eastern on EWTN Radio.
CNA is the only fast, reliable, and free Catholic news source that brings blogs, stories, and opinions to your fingertips. The latest Catholic news is at CatholicNewsAgency.com, an online service from EWTN News.
60 on 10 with Monsignor Charles Pope.
The fifth commandment, you shall not kill. At the heart of this commandment is an absolute insistence on the sacredness of human life. We read in Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5, before I ever formed you in the womb, I knew you, says says the Lord. So every human life is sacred because it's caught up in the mind and the heart and the will and the love of God. And no matter how we're conceived or any of the circumstances, God has always known and loved every human person. And for this reason, we are to hold sacred every human life. And we are to, therefore, never murder, never kill, never seek vengeance. Of course, we have issues of abortion, euthanasia today. We have so many ways where we in some way disrespect the lives of other human persons. And even our own life, we have to learn to respect it as a great gift from God. The fifth commandment, you shall not kill.
EWTN. Live truth. Live Catholic.
Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on EWTN Radio, which, by the way, is going to be your home for March for Life coverage. And that starts, if I remember right, it's this afternoon, but I got to double check that. Maybe Rich can remind us when that coverage starts, but I just mentioned it because, Debbie, you and I, I guess we get a morning off tomorrow because our show is preempted by March for Life coverage. Yeah, 5:30 today.
But we'll be glued to the TV set, though.
Oh, yeah. It's so inspiring, isn't it, to see the coverage of the March for Life every year on EWTN, Debbie, to see the hundreds of thousands of pro-lifers who converge on Washington, D.C. So, folks, make a note of that, 5:30 Eastern this afternoon on EWTN Television and Radio Classics.
Yep. Praying for a huge turnout, record turnout. Okay, we're going to go right to the phone. So when a line becomes open, please jump in at 1-800-585-9396. The question we're asking today, does your past sometimes get in the way of your future? That's what we're asking today on Take Two. And remember, you drive the show. Gary in Ontario, Canada, got our First Up Award listening on Sirius XM 130. Hi, Gary. Congratulations on the virtual award. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Oh, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Gary.
The first thing that came to mind when you folks offer up this topic was it hurts a bit. It's my father basically left our family when I was about 3 years old. And I remember my mom, when I got to age to understand the whole thing, she says, the only way you're going to get a happy birthday from your dad was if you call him and ask him to wish you a happy birthday. And even as a young child, I knew there was something wrong with that. But I did it for a while, and then after that, I just stopped completely. And now I have trouble remembering my sister's birthdays. I don't really care, even though I make an effort. Even to this day, my birthday doesn't mean anything to me. I also feel like I'm not worthy. Like I have to struggle through it. So that's something that I'm carrying with me. And I'm sure that's just a small example of something very small. But by understanding that, I'm sure I'll be able to understand bigger ones that I'm struggling with as well.
Well, Gary, first of all, I just wanted to share with you, you're not alone in that. Birthdays can be very painful, especially for families that were, estranged or broken or dysfunctional, whatever situation was going on in the family. So you're not alone in that. And we used to actually see that a lot in adult formation. I was the adult formation director for many years at my parish, and we used to see that a lot. But here's something that's interesting. And if you're open for this challenge, I believe Mother Teresa was the one who used to do this. Instead of celebrating her birthday, she used to celebrate her baptismal day. And I don't know if you can find from your home parish your baptismal date. I'm sure you can because it's all recorded, and I'm sure it's that way in Canada as well. Find your baptismal date and celebrate that, because that is for all of eternity. I mean, of course, it's a miracle you are born and you're here on this earth, and your birthday is very special, but your baptismal date is extraordinary. And Mother Teresa, yes, I believe Mother Teresa is the one who used to celebrate that. What do you think of that?
I think that's a very good. That might just make the whole difference, because I see that baptismal being more important than the actual birth date in a way. Really, It is.
Well, it is, yeah.
Yeah.
They're both obviously significant, but the baptismal date is the birth of our God willing eternal life. But Gary, I wanted to share with you just real quickly. I don't know if you've listened to the show much, but I've shared rather openly about my own experience with both of my parents. They divorced when I was 7. You said I think your father was out of your life at 3, but then when you got to the age of being able to understand that, and see, I was 7. They call that the age of reason, and that's just the age when young people start to put the puzzle pieces together. And the thing is, we never ever blame our parents because it's wired into us to admire them, to look up to them, to respect them, obviously to honor them. But no parent is perfect. And what I had to do, and I mean this in a healthy way, not a critical way, is I had to come to the realization that my father messed up, my mother messed up, and that doesn't mean I didn't love them. They're both deceased now, but we just have to realize at some point, see, we hold this all upon ourselves, and we think, it's my fault, or, I did something wrong. And so, anyway, Gary, I don't know if that's helpful, but I had to work through some of the very same things that you're talking about, and they can be paralyzing and debilitating. And I realized that my relationship with God was simply not healthy for most of my life until I resolved some of these family of origin issues. So I offer that to you for whatever it's worth.
Thank you.
You are welcome, Gary. You'll be in our prayers.
Okay.
And
Thank
celebrate that baptismal
well.
day each and every year. Mine's July 23rd, by the way. What's yours, Debbie?
Mine is November. I was born November 9th, and I believe my uncle, Father Sylvester Lavolsi, who's now deceased, he of course did the baptism. I believe it's the 18th or the 22nd. I have to double check. I get them all mixed up but I know it was in November. Remember, they used to do it right away.
Right, yeah.
So yours was what? July?
Well, yeah, July 1st is my birthday and July 23rd, so it was about 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
After.
That's what mine was too. Yeah, isn't that interesting how fast? Mm-hmm. But that is, I believe it was Mother Teresa, and I love that idea because that really does change everything, and it lets you look towards eternity, which is so exciting because that's forever. Okay, so next up is Mary in Ohio, listening on Annunciation Radio. Hi, Mary. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Mary.
You're on.
This goes back to I was married, Catholic wedding, my first love, and it ended up in divorce, which I didn't want. I didn't wait to remarry until he married the person he left me for and our son. And I never really got over that. I had my marriage annulled. I remarried like 3 years later, but I believe I brought those feelings from my first marriage into my second marriage. I could not get over, and I think I know it affected my relationship with my second husband because I couldn't totally love him 100% because I was always getting flashbacks of my first marriage. And as much as I tried, it's like I couldn't let go of that. And even to this day, I'm talking 35, 40 years later, their marriage is successful, and I still wonder, it doesn't seem normal to be carrying that on for so long, and I'm sure he doesn't give me a thought. But since then, I've lost my husband, and I feel guilty because I felt like wasn't the true. I never cheated or nothing, but I'm just saying in my mind I kept on wanting my first marriage to have worked and didn't totally give, 100% to my second marriage.
Right. Well, Mary, first of all, is there any chance of reconciliation with your second your second husband?
No, he's married again. He's been married for like 35 years.
Oh no, the second the next marriage that you went into, what is there any chance of that one, or is he married too?
No, he passed away.
Oh, he passed away. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so there's Mary, here's the thing. When you've been married a long time, it's like muscle memory. And with like riding a bicycle, it's you refer back to it. It's so natural. And I can totally relate to that. And that is why the church.
No, I wasn't married a long time. I was only married 7 years to the first one.
Okay,
and but you had 35 years to the second one. But those 35 years, I was always, wishing my other marriage had succeeded in, because my second marriage was not happy.
Gotcha.
And I think part of my guilt was not being able to let go of the first marriage, and you know what I mean?
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, I get it. Totally. And you had a child with the first husband, so that's going to change it also. Right. When you have a child with, you know this, when you have a child with your husband, it bonds you in a way that you can't describe. And here's the thing, Mary, your husband who passed away, there's nothing you can do about that now, okay? But you recognize that you're still holding on to the past. And your first husband moved on. He's married. You said he's happy. He's been married for 35 years. I don't think you should be so hard on yourself for feeling those things, because it tends to be in our subconscious, because you spent every day with that person for 7 years. You had a child with that person. So I don't think that necessarily is a bad thing. What can be detrimental to your forward movement is if it affects future relationships, which it did. Okay, so you recognize that, and that is powerful, because that will allow you to know that it may be happening, but not to bring it into relationships. But here's the thing, Mary, there's nothing you can do about the past, and there's really nothing you can change or correct about anything. But the thing that I would love for you to do is to celebrate who you are as a daughter of God. You are so loved, and focus on your faith and less on human beings, because I think sometimes we do that. We have such strong feelings, ties to human beings, and we are really only to be tied to God. Now, we're all the body of Christ. We're all connected, absolutely. But it's God is our focus. And when you shift that, the other things tend to fade away. And there's a lot of counseling on that, Mary. You may want to seek some counseling. I know Rose Sweet does a great ministry on this. You can go to rosesweet.com. But I think there's some merit in you going back and just kind of letting some of those feelings go, because you're carrying that, and it's not really productive for your future. I don't know if anything I'm saying kind of resonates with you, but I feel strong, because I was where you were at, and I know that feeling. What do you think?
I think that's good advice. I wish I would have talked to somebody about this sooner. I tried to just push it back on my own, and I really wasn't able to do that. And I think my second husband felt that insecurity, like he because he wasn't married before. He didn't understand. He didn't have a child, So, and, the child does bond you together. And, I do need to let go, because it's only hurting me. And thank you for saying that I recognize it, and that's a step, because, I have confessed it, but I still kind of, linger there,
Well, and Mary, just real quick, I can't add a thing to what Debbie said. I thought it was a brilliant response, but I was actually going to ask you if you had a sense that the second marriage, that gentleman actually had some sort of, was feeling that you were thinking that way, or, that your vision was kind of back on that first marriage. And if that's the case, that it's even more understandable why you would have this uneasy feeling, this feeling of, maybe a little bit of guilt or something. But I'm with Debbie, the time has come for you to free yourself of this, for you to let God free you of this, and really flourish going forward in your life. Put that focus on God, like Debbie said, and pray for both of the men you were married to, and certainly the one who's deceased right now. God can heal in this life and in the next life, and bring peace and joy, and of course eternal life. So Mary, you'll be in our prayers, and go ahead.
Yeah, and Jerry, you just said something. Mary, if it's okay, just the first name or even initials of your second husband, let's all take two family pray that he hears your prayers, Mary, because you said you confessed it. So if you could just give us his first name or initials, we'll put him in the prayer book, and we'll all pray together. So we're in this together. What do you think, Mary?
Okay. My second husband's name was Rob, and I did end up telling him how I felt, which was even worse. At times when I couldn't, be intimate like it should have been.
Sure.
It's like, I need more time. I just, and I should have never told him that, but I was trying to help him I was trying to let him know that, I still needed time, to get over this. But, we had 3 other children, so it's not like, but he wasn't into the church, so he didn't understand any of what I was feeling.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't saying, okay, I'll give you time. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't know the right thing to say. Instead, he got angry over what I was saying.
Sure, because he didn't understand. But he's hopefully, prayerfully, he's with God, and all that is washed away. That's the thing we have to remember. In eternity, these things that became such boulders for us on earth, they're washed away. They're like little pebbles in heaven. So Mary, take comfort in that. That's why Jerry and I keep saying, focus on eternity and everything will work out. See, our minds tend to just hold on to things that we think are so monumental that we can't get over, but God can. And that's the beauty of it. Mary, we hope it brought you some comfort that you called in today. And please check out rosesweet.com. She just does a wonderful ministry on healing. Jerry?
All right, Mary, thank you for the phone call. Thanks for your listenership and support of Annunciation Radio as well. That line will be open there. All the other ones are taken right now. And so those of you on the line, we will do our best to get to each and every one of you. So please be patient here on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. The number is 1-800-585-9396. 800-585-9396. Talking about not remaining stuck in our past, but moving forward with confidence and standing tall in who we are made to be by God.
That's what I was saying, Jerry. This discussion we're having today is a little foretaste of what Stand Tall Retreat is going to be. So if you want to join us, go to jerryanddebbie.com. There's only 13 days left to register. We want to see you there. We want to build our friendship together. We want to put a face to the voices we hear on the radio. 1-800-585-9396. That's the number to call to get on this discussion today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. We'll be right back.
Third Millennium Media presents Debbie Georgianni.
The world tells us not to be merciful, and we as Catholic Christians are called to take a step back and look at it in a different way. We must practice mercy, especially if we want to receive mercy.
Debbie Georgianni, co-host of Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on EWTN Radio, wants to visit your parish retreat or conference. Invite Debbie Georgianni today online at thirdmillenniummedia.com.
Hello, this is Brian Kemper of Priests for Life with Pro-Life Update. Why don't more pastors speak out against abortion? Some of them actually do not know how to connect the issue with the scripture readings. They know that the readings are supposed to be the basis of their homilies, but they do not find many references to the unborn child or to the killing of such children. But the themes of pro-life are on every page of Scripture. Homilies are not simply Scripture lessons, rather they apply to the great biblical themes, to the day-to-day challenges that believers face as they live their lives. So, for instance, the Bible is clear that only God has dominion over human life. He made it, He cares for it, He owns it. That is why no human being can own or kill or devalue. This is Brian Kemper on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
Divine Intimacy Radio.
When you engage with the wisdom of saints this way, it stokes the fires of God in our hearts, encourages us, strengthens us, and gives us wisdom to deal with the difficulties of life. It also gives us wisdom that allows us to rise above all of the junk, to live with joy and peace in the midst of even the most difficult circumstances.
Divine Intimacy Radio, Sundays 6:30 a.m., 1:30 p.m., and 11 p.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio.
Without delay, we're going to go right back to your calls because you're the ones who, as we always say, drive this show. So Debbie and I open the show and then we hand you the keys, give you the steering wheel, and away we go again with Vanessa driving. Speaking of that, driving through New York. Vanessa, thank you for your patience there and welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. There we go. Now we've got Vanessa on the air. Hi, Vanessa. How are you?
Hi. Hello, Jerry and Debbie. How are you?
Great. Better now that you called, Vanessa.
Awesome. I'm calling, Debbie, when you made the statement just in regards to holding on to things, immediately my mind went to my struggle with my abuser. I was young, between probably the ages of like 4 and 10, and an older cousin abused myself, and finding out years later, several of our family members. And I think the hardest part for me, because I've since then myself studied, and I'm actually a psychotherapist, I've gone through psychotherapy, but spiritually I struggle because I'm very angry that he continues to flourish and in my eyes does well despite the fact he's done this to all of us. And in light of all the women coming forward and speaking of the abuses that have been, and the atrocities against them, I have a feeling like I want to say something. However, I'm so fearful regarding his family, and like his children, and I would not want them to be devastated by it. So that's ergo my silence. But at the present time, I'm still angry, and I don't like that I'm harboring this because I know that, forgiveness is what a Christian should do.
Well, Vanessa, yeah, forgiveness is one thing, and that's important, and you must try to do that if you haven't done so already. But I don't know if you're aware if this gentleman is still doing this type of thing or not. But that would certainly be a factor. I mean, if he's still harming women or other individuals in this abusive way, then that would, I think, provide some different circumstances as to whether you should, speak up or not. Obviously, you're very sensitive to his current situation with his, sounds like a marriage and a family, and don't want to hurt the kids and all of that. But this is a situation, Debbie, I would just say, definitely maybe consult some, professional person who might have, some insights on what Vanessa might do in this regard. But Vanessa, there's also the issue of, your own, if you were to say something, then, that puts you out there, publicly as well as having been a victim of that, which, you did nothing wrong, but it's still, there's the stigma that goes with that too. So,
Right.
A lot to think and pray about here, but I would definitely consult somebody, maybe in some kind of professional field on this or legal field. Debbie, what do you think?
Yeah, both. Oh, well, you said you're a psychotherapist. One of your peers, maybe you could consult on some ideas. But Vanessa, I just want to address your anger, which, rightly so. I think you're justified in having that anger. And when we are dealt some really deep hurts by people, whether they're emotional, physical, sexual, and it goes on and on. Okay, there's anger that is attached to it, as you know, as a therapist, Vanessa. So here's something I'm going to impart to you that was given to me by a very, very wonderful, wise priest. I have a lot of wise priests around me, which I absolutely love. I need them because that's how I get through life.
Amen.
Yeah. And Vanessa, this is what this priest said to me. Constantly meditate on Romans 12:19. That is the passage, Romans 12:19, where it says, "Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord." That the Lord will take care of everything. So when you said that you're angry because this person is prospering, this person is flourishing, well, you know what? Scripture doesn't lie. Romans 12:19. We also have a very just God, and vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. And I say that all the time because I was betrayed brutally, not physically, not sexually, but emotionally by my former husband, brutally. And I say that all the time, and it brings me tremendous peace. So I'm so grateful to that priest that imparted it to me. What do you think? Can you use that as your kind of saying in the back of your mind when you're feeling that sense of anger?
I absolutely feel I can. I have in the past, but then I felt in surmounting the initial guilt with that, is that fair of me to look to the Lord, and because he's a just and loving God, in expectation that he'll bring about, because my view of the vengeance was not equalizing. It was that something horrible is going to happen to him. I'm
Right.
waiting for the gauntlet to fall, the car accident, and he's killed, or you know what I mean, to be very frank. I'm
absolutely.
waiting for this, something to be disfigured, or, something just
Right.
totally off the cuff, and it's not healthy, and I
Right.
know
Oh,
that.
well, but Vanessa, here's this. And this is the one thing the priest told me. When you're saying vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, when you're looking to God, it's not so much you're asking God to, hurt that person or punish that person or do anything. You're just deferring those feelings of wanting instant, a payback to that person. You're deferring those feelings over to God and let God be the ultimate judge of it and let it go. So when you let go of those feelings, then and only then can your sense of mercy and forgiveness enter in. But when the anger is Yeah, you know, because you're a therapist. And I learned that the hard way, Vanessa. So I'm imparting it to you for free, and I don't even charge.
Amen.
Amen. Oh, keep up the great work. You're a beautiful soul. I really loved your call because I think it helps so many of us. And as a matter of fact, as you were speaking, I got a text message that said, "Oh my goodness, I love Vanessa," because other people are feeling that way. And so you're not alone. You're not alone, Vanessa. Thank you so much.
And I think when you're in the field as well, those of us that are in the field, it's so different when it's us. And you can't, assess yourself and psychoanalyze yourself and give yourself that wonderful pearl of wisdom that you just gave me. So thank you so much, and I love you guys.
Thanks, Vanessa.
We love you too. And Vanessa, you know what? It's so true. I can preach it, but sometimes I don't practice it. Like, for instance, I introduced Jerry to paleo diet. He lost like 30 pounds. I gained 5 pounds. It's true, though. I know. It's so funny. But Jerry, you did. I was so proud of you. You really did well.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, Vanessa. Have a beautiful day.
Vanessa.
Drive safely, please. And do call us again here on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. All right, Sean has also been holding in Boston, listening on the Station of the Cross. Hi, Sean. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hi, Jerry and Debbie. How are you?
Great, Sean. How are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. I just want this. First of all, this is a great, great topic. I like to share a little bit about myself and how it's affected me and held me back in my life. I've had 2 suicides that affected me very deeply, and one I feel was sort of murder in a way, and there's just a whole bunch of different avenues that I could go down, but I won't.
Sean,
suicide. I was in foster care most of my life. That held me back.
Mm-hmm.
Being in abusive homes and things like that, abusive relationships.
Sean, if you don't mind, and you don't have to share anything about this if you don't want to, but I'm curious, you mentioned the 2 suicides, I presume. I'm not going to presume, forgive me. Were these, I can presume they were people close to you because, they impacted you in a tremendous way. Are you able to share, the relationship that you had? Was it family? Was it friends? Again, if you're not comfortable, please don't. But
no, it was family.
It was family, okay.
Both one was family, and one was my best friend who killed himself in my basement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, this is so unfortunate, Sean, and I'm sorry to hear about that, and the abusive situation, the being in the foster homes and all of that. Just to address the suicides for just a second, I mean, when people close to us do something like that, I can't help, Debbie, but think that it has some effect on us, to make us think, was it anything I did or said, or was I not a good enough friend or good enough family member?
I blame myself for the longest time because I worried about him. I worried about my little brother.
Yeah.
And he was my only brother growing up. And he went through the same things I went through. And I was like the older brother, and I had to look out for him. And I feel like I let him down. I feel like I let God down. And
but Sean, you didn't. You didn't let anybody down. In fact, what I'm hearing from your heart right now, and Debbie, I'm sure you would agree with this, I'm hearing someone who deeply loved your brother and your friend. You still have great concern for them. So I have no doubt, Sean, that there was nothing that you did or anything that you could have done that might have changed that. Unfortunately, we have a problem on our hands with people taking their own lives. I have some of that in my own family. An uncle who took his own life. My mother was married to a man before she married my father. He took his own life. I unfortunately, tragically, heard just yesterday of a star quarterback for Washington State University who is in line to become the next starting superstar quarterback. Was found dead in his apartment of
my
a
high school
self-inflicted
classmate
wound. Debbie, your classmate a couple days ago. So this is something
that problem.
Yeah, and Debbie, it's a conversation I think we've had on the show, but we really need to have. we really need to have this conversation again, because we can't blame ourselves when somebody is in a position like that, which is very, very unfortunate. And there are so many circumstances that go into an act like that.
Well,
But see, I feel like God warned me that it was going to happen, and the thought was in my head, and somehow I caused it, or God warned me that it was going to happen, and I could have prevented it somehow, or something like that. And because I was jealous of my brother and stuff like that, somehow I contributed to the whole thing.
Yeah, no, Sean, here's the thing. If you're a Catholic, I would really encourage you to go to confession and talk to the priest about this.
By the way, I want to become a Catholic, and the Catholic Church reached out to me this morning for the first time. I've been waiting, 3 months now, and they finally called me today, ironically. And I'm going to try to do the RCA program and get more involved and try to move beyond this.
Oh, absolutely. Sean, you'll find healing and comfort in the church. Okay, so please definitely...
Right now, I have no family.
Okay, well, you have family in the church, and that is important, because that's going to hopefully be for all of eternity. So, Sean, here's the thing. Reach out to the RCIA director, also maybe the deacon or the priest that's overseeing the program, and talk to them about this so that you can have those guilt and all those feelings, the sibling rivalry, all that stuff that you think possibly, which absolutely did not, because your brother had free will. And you have to remember that. We cannot change a person's will unless they're willing to change themselves. They have that free will. So I want you to really, really lean on the church, Sean, because you will find that healing and comfort there. Talk to people, get this off of you, because then you can go on and be that person that God created to go out there and to make a difference. And who knows, you may even be able to speak and bring healing and comfort to others. And that is going to be all worth it. So the best thing we can do is pray for those two, souls that took their own life, and that God has mercy on their soul, but they had free will, and they may have had complications, situations going on emotionally, psychologically, mentally, whatever. So we don't know. We don't know. We can't judge that. So we pray. We let that be God's territory. And Sean, you focus on you. Focus on you. It's time for you. Okay? Because I sense that you're so burdened. It's like a heavy cover that you have over you. We need to kind of peel back that cover a little bit and let the real Sean come out. Okay, Sean? We're going to pray for that for you. What do you think?
From now on, I'm going to try to do the right thing.
Well,
okay.
You're a good man, Sean. You've already done the right thing, and you are doing the right thing. And I echo what Debbie said, and I'm so delighted to hear that you're going to go through RCIA, the Rite of Christian Initiation of Adults. And I'm sure you're going to find a good parish there and a good priest and staff to help you with that. So you'll be in our prayers, Sean. Thank you. And we're glad that you listened to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. And thank you so much for calling in. The timing was obviously very providential with the church reaching out to you just today. So Jean is next, then Carol. Just want to mention quickly about National Catholic Register. EWTN is about a whole lot more than great television and great radio shows. They have EWTN Publishing with books coming out, Catholic News Agency, all kinds of resources, plus the National Catholic Register. It's a weekly newspaper, and it's really, I would have to say, Debbie, it's probably America's most trusted Catholic news source with a comprehensive view of the world from a distinctively Catholic perspective. And so, for folks, if you want the latest news, people, and events shaping the world as we know it, visit ncregister.com, National Catholic Register. Get a subscription today. You won't regret it.
It's the only print publication I have in our home. I did
here.
away. Yeah. Oh, you same with you too?
Yep.
Wow, we have another thing in common.
Well, I get other things like Knights of Columbus monthly.
We get that
magazine
too,
and stuff. Yeah, but as far as newspapers,
it's fabulous. I learn something new every time I pick it up. Okay, you said you promised to Jean. Did I say this correctly, Jerry? Livonia, Michigan.
I think it's Livonia, Michigan. I'm not sure. Jean can maybe
Ave Maria Radio. Jean, which is it?
It's Jean is Ave Maria Radio.
Yeah, but what city? Livonia, yeah. Livonia, okay.
Ann Arbor.
Oh, okay. I love it. Hi, Jean.
Great.
Welcome.
Oh, well, hi to you, too. I just love your show. I learn so much from listening to the people.
Yes, we
So
do
do we.
too. I have, Jerry, I think I have 19 notebooks. I have 19 notebooks, Jean. I have more books than I did when I went through my my master's degree. So what's your take on this?
I grew up in a unusual family in that we didn't have any emotional ties between any of us. It was like the only thing I can ever remember feeling in our family was either guilt or duty. And as I grew up, it's really affected my life. I'm 68 now, and I've had bouts of clinical depression since I was in my 20s, off and on. Because of this, I don't relate to other people. It's made it impossible for me to relate to other people. The only thing I've ever felt close to is animals. And it's just because I understand it. I went through years of therapy. I know where it came from. But it doesn't help me change it. It changed the way I am now. And I want to change the way I am now. But it's very, very, very hard when you don't know how to relate to people. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Jerry. You go first.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, Gene, there was a little bit of this in my family, maybe not as pronounced as what you're describing, but I remember our mother always used to say, children are to be seen and not heard, and there was sort of this rigidity, there was this rigidity, and I think I only knew one of my grandparents. Interestingly enough, I had a dream about her last night. But the other three of my grandparents were all deceased when we were very young. But what I remember about them and about our family environment was there was this sort of this rigidity, this almost a dryness, and not a lot of warmth and emotion being shared in our family as well. And the thing is, this is so critical. I don't know why this came to my mind, Debbie, but those studies that they do with infants, if they're not picked up and held and touched.
Attachment disorder.
Yeah, then even from the youngest age, we can develop these emotional difficulties that can keep us stuck. And maybe that's what Jean is describing here. But the beautiful thing is, Jean, I think you said you're 68, that you're still plenty young enough to resolve this and to move on and really flourish for the remainder of your life. Debbie, I know you agree with that.
I couldn't agree more. Jean, there's so many programs out there that can help you start to relate better. I would really pursue those. I mean, you can even go online and look for there's even online things you can do. And it's really interesting. The other thing too is you said you find comfort in your animals. Absolutely. It's unconditional love. They're always waiting for you, they're excited to see you each and every time. And so that you're right in line, I guess, with St. Francis of Assisi. So you're in good company there. But here's the thing, Jean, I would definitely pursue those different programs, but I would also just be kind to yourself. I mean, like Jerry said, you have plenty, hopefully, God willing, time on this earth. And just start small. Here's the thing. We don't have to necessarily be best friends forever with everybody. Start small and just, celebrate the little small things you can do each day. Even just, test yourself out. Go to the store and talk to the sales clerk and talk to somebody else just to relate and get to know people. But here's the thing I'd love for you to do. I've got a challenge for you if you're open to it. And Jerry will know this because we do Catholic life skills, and that's going to be part of our Stand Tall retreat. So are you open to this challenge, this little challenge I got for you? I have to have your agreement on it.
Sure.
Okay. When you encounter another person, I don't want you to look at them as a person. Try to envision their soul. Okay? Try to envision that. And then see where the encounter takes you. Because here's the problem we all have. You're not alone in this, Jean. We look at each other. You see another person, like I'm looking at Jerry right now on Facebook, and I see his shirt, and I see his glasses, and I see his smile, and I see his headset on his head, and I see all that, and I'm seeing that the exterior, okay? But if you allow yourself to have, for a moment, God's eyes and look into their soul, you will develop a different, I just felt the Holy Spirit, so I'm going to tell you, okay, so this is awesome because that, I believe, Jean, is the missing link because you didn't get to experience that in your home, your domestic church at home, to see soul to soul. You were relating as really bodies. And I can relate to that, Jean. I had a very somewhat similar childhood. So it's very mechanical. Go to the soul and watch what unfolds, okay? So got any questions on that, or you're good about it?
I don't I guess I just don't understand the concept. It's hard for me to envision a soul, you know.
Okay. Well, how about this? Do you have a favorite saint or a favorite person that you've like Saint John Paul II, Mother Teresa? Is there anybody you can Okay. Well, when you think about them, what do you think about?
The way they look.
Okay. Okay. So you're looking at the exterior. Okay. Maybe think about them try to take time and think about them a little differently, like what they exuded on this earth, what they displayed on this earth, how they were Christ on this earth. Start to look at that level of it, the spiritual level of that, and see if you can develop it. It's going to take time, Jean. It's going to take time. Don't rush yourself. But I just wanted to say, if you're open to that, keep us posted and check back with us. We're going to be praying for you, Jean. I have a really good feeling about this. I think you're going to have friends are going to be popping into your circle, and you're not even going to know how they arrived. As a matter of fact, I'm going to pray to Padre Pio, St. Padre Pio, so that he can put the right people in your path. Okay, Jean?
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Jean. All right, we got Carol in Burlington, Wisconsin. Carol, you have been holding a nice long time there. Thanks for your patience listening on WSFI. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm so psyched about going to the Stand Tall retreat.
Thank you.
And I worked on a picture to bring with me to share, and it has a figure that's stretched upward with their hands towards heaven, and then also... but the person just doesn't stretch tall and get power or, by themselves. They need God in it. So then I also put a boat in it, and it doesn't have any oars. So the picture is called Stand Tall and Get in His Boat.
Nice.
So after you stand tall, that you let go and you let God carry you down, carry you through life or whatever. But anyway, beautiful. I'm psyched and that. But I wanted to say that as an alcoholic, sometimes you think, boy, this is really great that I had a past and now it's blossomed and bloomed, in recovery and so forth. But then a lot of times you have to carefully package what you say about your past and heal as fast and as much as you can, because people could use it against you. And for instance, if somebody's a heroin addict or something, and they go in and they say, yes, and they want to be really positive and say, I've had several felonies in my past, and let me tell you about them. But the other person at the other end may not be as thrilled about recovery as you are or not understand. So it's very important that you have boundaries and the right thing to say and be very confident. And so that invites you to go forward and heal, because if you're unsure about yourself and you're not going forward and letting go, then you never know what will happen. So recently with my art show, I put down that I was in recovery 36 years, and I was a counselor. They didn't even say why I was an artist. They just focused on the fact that I was alcoholic. They never once said that I was an artist. Yeah. And here I am showing in a gallery. So it was very painful, because then the person took the ball and ran and said that all the work was inspired by all the patients and clients I had worked with, and there were faces in the show and so forth. So somehow somebody had a naive point of view about taking somebody's information and broadcasting it. But it is, you're not supposed to regret your past, but it's really important to, I think, to absolutely go forward and be as healed as you can, as and so forth. So that's my story.
Well, Carol, you got a beautiful story, and we're always glad when you call in, and we're just thrilled that you're going to join us at the Stand Tall retreat in Coleman, Alabama. That's February 9th through the 11th. And I would just very quickly echo what you said. We have to be prudent. And every one of us, what's the saying? Every saint has a past, every sinner has a future. But we need to be a little bit prudent, because, like you said, Carol, some people are just maybe not in a place to receive what we would like to share, to perhaps unburden ourselves sometimes. Right. So you have a very wise approach to that. And we look forward to hearing more about your life and your story and sharing our hearts with you in Alabama in just about 3 weeks.
Can't wait to see that picture, Carol. So
yeah, right.
We're looking forward to it. Go to jerryanddebbie.com if you want to join Carol and Jerry and me and the others on the Stand Tall retreat. So we want to hear from you. Don't forget to watch the live coverage of March for Life. We're going to be watching as well. So we're not going to be with you tomorrow, but we're going to be with you Monday again. Right, Jerry?
That's right. Until then, enjoy, as Debbie said, the March for Life programming, and have a beautiful and blessed weekend.